Hello, Algebra 1 students for Mr. Fry. This is January 5th. This assignment is due on the 6th, and we're finding the slope for given points or a graph. Let's start with the graphs. I'm going to do the odd ones. Go ahead and do the even ones. Make mistakes, learn from them. That's how we make progress. And on the ones that I do, you may want to, pause this and slow it down, and because I'm just going to plow right through it. So let's take a look at number 1. Finding the slope. The first, that your slope is going to be -2. You're just going to be counting from point to point, and we read this from left to right, just like the way you write your name left to right. You're going to read a graph left to right, remember? So from this point to this point way down here is 4/2, down 4/2. So whenever I'm going down, I'm using negative. I noticed that it hit this point right here perfectly, the intersection of this x value and this y value, and that's down 2/1. If you could find a point like that, go ahead and you can use that. Sometimes it's not clear, so you may want to use the points that they are given to you, because you may think it's exactly on that point and it's not. So I'll give an example of that in a moment. But this was, and it's 2/1, and I double checked it. I did the 4/2. Yeah, so they both, when you do division, 2 divided by 1, 4 divided by 2, you get 2, and that's a negative. So it's -2. Take a look at this one. This is what I was talking about. Like maybe you're looking at it and you think, oh, that's so close, I'm going to count to this one. No, that would be 3/2, down 3/2. It's not. It doesn't hit that perfectly. So I'm just going to go point to point here. It goes down 5/3. So down 5/3, -5/3. I don't have to have the negative right with that 5. I could just have it like this, out in front of the fraction. If either the numerator or the denominator is negative, you just end up putting the negative out in front of the fraction. I wanted to give you an example of positive because 1, 2, and 3 are all negatives. This is an example of positive. Reading it from left to right, it's going up, and it's going up 1/2, so your slope is 1/2. Find the slope of the line through each pair of points. Here we have the points, and here is the slope formula, where m equals slope. And that m just stands for slope. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me why it's m, but we can get into that some other time. But we're going to label these x1, y1, x2, y2. And I'm going to take my y2 minus my y1, so 6 minus 6. Right off the bat, that's giving me a 0. And I know it's going to be a no slope. I don't even have to go any further, but I did anyways. So 9 minus a 3 is 9 plus 3. Minus a negative is a plus. So it's 0/11. But 0/11, 0 divided by 11, you get 0. That's a no slope. And that makes sense. And I did this little graph here for you. If I went to these 2 points, -3, 6 and 9, 6, and I connected these 2 points with a line. Notice how it's just a horizontal line. There is no slope. It's not tilting up or down. It's a no slope, so that makes sense. Number 7, I just used the slope formula. I work it out, ended up getting -8/8. That equals 1. -8 divided by -8 is 1, so that's just a slope of 1. Okay, find the value of x or y so that the line through the points has the given slope. Okay, so I want my slope to be 3/2. Okay, and then I have my y1 minus my y2 minus my y1. I don't know what my y1 is. And then I have my x2 minus my x1. Minus the negative is plus. I work it out, and so here I got to figure out what number could I put in for this y to make all of this equal 3/2. Now notice this is -2 down here. That -3 plus 1 gave me the -2. So I'm going to have a negative over a negative to make this positive, and I'm going to have to make this 3. So I have to make this a negative 3. So in order to make this a negative 3, if I just had a 1 for y, so it would be -1, it would be -2 minus 1, which would be -3. So so if I have 3 over 2, that equals -3 over -2. So that would work if I put a 1 in there. So my y value is 1. In this one, I set the whole problem up. I need it to equal -11 over 4. And in doing that, this becomes 22, and that's a positive 22 over 9 minus something. Now, if I was to simplify 22 to 11, I just divide by 2. So I got to divide this by 2. So it's going to be 8. I need this to be 8, but I need it to be a -8 because this is a negative over here. Okay, remember I said if either the numerator or the denominator has a negative in front of it, you could put it in front of the whole fraction. So -11 is going to equal a -22 over 8. Okay, because if I divide both the top and the bottom by 2, I get 11 over 4, right? And there's a negative out in front of it. But I have to make this -8. So what would I put in here to make this a -8? Well, I would put in a 17. 17 is going to be what I need there. So 9 minus 17 gives me a -8. That satisfies my equation here, and that's going to be my x value. Find the slope of each line. Remember the slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, where the m is the slope, b is the y-intercept, but we don't need to deal with that. We're just dealing with slope right now. So this one, I don't have any y or anything. This x equals -1 would be if I were to graph it. Here's my x-axis, here's my y-axis. I go to -1. No matter what y equals, x is always -1, right? That's a vertical line. If it's a vertical line, it's undefined. So that's called an undefined slope. No slope, remember, was from back on number 5, where it's a horizontal line. Horizontal lines are no slope. Okay? All right. Number 15. Well, right here, y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope. I just don't have a plus b back here. Maybe it was 0 or something. It would have been. It is 0, I tell you that. So, we don't have to deal with that. But the m is the slope. This is what I'm asked. What's the slope? Well, the slope is -4. There you have it. Slope on this one, I'll just tell you right now, it's -3 over 2. Nothing really to work out on that one. All right. Hopefully this helps.